This is giving.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Clausen.
Here.
Commissioner Cox.
Here.
Commissioner Grayman. Here. Commissioner Phipps.
Here.
Mayor Hall.
Here. Consent agenda. Items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine in nature and will be enacted by one motion. No separate discussion of these items will occur unless a council member requests the item to be removed from the consent agenda. If an item is removed from the consent agenda, it will be considered elsewhere on the agenda for this meeting. Prior to asking for a motion to approve the consent agenda, the mayor will ask if anyone desires to remove an item from the consent agenda for public discussion. Would anybody like to remove any items from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I move to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of March the 18th, 2025, and bills and payroll for the last half of March 2025. Can I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Commissioner Cox. And roll call.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Grayman. Yes. Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Presentations, petitions, and communications. This portion of the city council meeting is reserved for persons who desire to address the council. The Illinois Open Meetings Act mandates that the city council may not take action on comments received on matters that have not been identified on this agenda. But the council may direct staff to address the topic or refer the matter for action on the agenda for another meeting. Persons addressing the council are requested to limit their presentation to 3 minutes to avoid repetitious comments. We would also ask you to state your name and address for the record, as well as stand when speaking. Would anybody like to address the council? Okay. I'll start, I'll take the first two motions.
Budget presentation.
Budget hearing.
Oh, that's right, we all do that.
We could skip it.
Yeah. Well, we got,
I've worked so hard on this.
You need to.
Good in a second.
The hearing.
okay, so we need to open the public hearing for the budget, FY '26 budget. And
So I'll take it from there, Mayor. Thank you. Yes, this is the budget for fiscal year 26. Starting with general fund, budget revenues, about 25 million to 64. Expenditures, 25,171,000, giving us a surplus of about 92,000 in the black. There is some recommended salaries that would bring that number down, increases with benefits and everything, it'd be about 30,000 to the general fund. So we're looking around 62,000 in the black. Largest expenditures, salaries and overtime, 8.9 million projected. Employee benefits, 9.9 million. Transfer to capital fund for big projects, 1 million. And then transfer to the library, 600,000. Again, this is kind of a pie chart showing where revenues are coming in. We get about almost 14 million from state shared revenues, almost 6 million from property taxes, 1.2 million from utilities, down the line, about 2 million for charges of services, miscellaneous $1 million, license and permit fees, 320,000. And then the percentages of the budget. Budget expenditures, again, I've kind of talked about salaries. Salaries, 8.9 million, pensions is 6.2 million, healthcare is about 3.2 million. That together is about 73.4% of the overall expenditures. Then you get down into your daily operations. We spend about 3.3 million in daily operations, $1 million in capital improvements, have the libraries, property and casualty insurance, about 350,000, work comp, about 430,000. Me fund, putting away money for vehicles, 612,000, about 270,000 in utilities, about 21,000 in computer This is a new slide that you guys have not seen. I kind of started breaking down a little bit. There's a lot going on in this slide, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But at the top, you see the overall revenues and expenditures. I can't, yeah, overall revenues and expenditures. Again, the revenues are 25 million and expenditures are 25 million. But then I broke down the police department. We have 45 full-time employees. Their revenues that their department brings in about 400,000. Their expenses is 8.8 million. 8.8 million is about 35% of the total expenses of the city. Go down a couple lines, the pension, and I got what we pay for pensions, what we pay for salaries and benefits. And then out of their 8.8 million, 89.5% that goes to is salaries and pensions. So only about 10% of their budget is for everyday uses, about 925,000. So I kind of did the same thing with the fire department. They have 32 employees. They got the ambulance revenue of 1.2 million. They have a 7.9 million in expenses, which is about 31% of the budget. Again, pensions and salaries, that's 90% of their budget is pension and salaries, leaving about 763,000 in day-to-day expenses, which is, gas, vehicles, utilities, supplies, all that is figured in that number. Public Works, I got an asterisk by it. 40% of their revenues, or not revenues, but 40% of their expenditures to the general fund, 30 out of water, 30 out of sewer. Their revenue is about 65,000. Their overall expenditures is 1.7 million.
So was this just the general fund?
Just the general fund portion. IMRF, 27,000, almost 28,000. Salaries and benefits, 943,000. Theirs is about 56% of their budget is spent on IMRF and salaries and benefits. They also spend about 762,000, about 44% of their budget for daily uses. Again, that's trucks, fuel, utilities. Other departments. Materials, road pack, asphalt, concrete, all that is included in that. Community development, we got 3 full-time employees. What's that?
You missed the part.
Oh, did I go over? I did miss the parks down there. Sorry about that.
Got to give them their fair share.
Yeah, they got revenues of 489,000. A lot of that is the campgrounds off the lake, boat stickers. Those are probably the biggest 2 revenues generators for them. They also have, Burgess, not Burgess, but DeMars and Peterson Park rentals. 1.3 million is their expense. Again, IMRF's about 14,000, salaries and benefits 630,000. They spend about 739,000. Again, that's a lot of it's for sports complex and keeping the parks up, mowing, new equipment. Community development revenues about 71,000 through permit fees. Their expenses 275,000. Again, got their breakdown of their salaries and the IMRF. About 65% of their budget is IMRF and salaries. And then they spend about 93,000 on other things, like community development, economic development, which is about 34% of their budget. City manager, no revenue coming in on administrator and manager office. Expenditure, 40% of it out of the general fund, 84,000. Again, IMRF and salaries, about 90% of that budget. And there's about 8,000 in day-to-day expenditures. for the year. City clerk's office, they have some revenues, death and birth, rentals at the Burges, those type of things. Budget 240,000. Again, 5,000 in IMRF, 174,000 for salaries and benefits. About 75% of their budget is salary benefits in the IMRF. They spend about $60,000 a year on day-to-day operations. Finance, this is the kind of the one that the catch-all. So they got the big revenues coming in at $21 million. Expenditures about $2 million. So it's a lot of different things in there, like retiree healthcare, anything that's not obvious into another revenue, into another department gets thrown in there, and miscellaneous revenues and the finance. IMRF and salaries is about 84,000. Retiree healthcare is almost 1.5 million. Again, salaries in the general fund, some of them, 40% of Beth and Robbins is out of the general fund, the rest out of water and sewer.
Just real quick, Beth and Sandra, great job on the revenue. You've blown everybody else. You've blown everybody else away.
We don't spend much, do we?
Council, again, they have no revenues coming in. Expenditures, 492,000 going out. A big portion of that is the video gaming funds, goes through the council's budget. So 300 and can't remember the number now, but about 380 of that is really video gaming funds.
Should you put the revenues in there too for the video gaming portion?
Probably should. Yeah, should wash that out. So we could do that. And like I said, this is actually a new sheet that I've been working on this year.
I like
So it gives a lot of information, but that is a good thing that I'll do. I'll put that in there. IT, computer IT, again, there's 2 salaries in there. About 446,000 in expenses. 245,000 is the day-to-day operations for the year, which a lot of servers, switches, computers, software, buying software and continuing to pay fees for softwares and video cameras. Yeah, a lot gets thrown in that. Have not been able to complete the legal or the economic development, but I will tell you the legal, we have budgeted like 90,000 in expenses for this year. So it's one that won't show revenues, but it will show about 90,000 in expenses. And then the economic development's only 50,000 is what our contribution to Coast Together is. So I'll get those finished up and share that with the rest of the council. This chart we've used for quite a few years. It showed that the pensions have finally caught up to the property taxes for the last 4 years. And then this year, it's actually higher than the property taxes. So our property taxes are not covering all of the pension contributions that we need to make. 234,000 is coming out of the general fund to make those pension contributions. Hopefully, the state will push that number out to being 90% efficient in 2040 to 2050. They've talked about it a few times, but we'll see what the state does. That would help us a little bit. Motor fuel tax, it's money we receive through the gas taxes. Budget revenue is about 817,000. We're planning on spending 1.4 this year million. So we will have a little bit of a deficit in the spending this year. Got a lot of projects that we're trying to do, but if you see the next line, projected balance at the end of the budget year, April 30th of 26, we'll have 282,591 in the budget. We usually try to keep about 4 to 500,000 in there, so we are a little bit lower than what we have been in the past. The largest expenditures is Swords, intersection engineering, Route 16, and Swords, 114 expenditure, 114,000 expenditure on our side. State's also matching 114,000 for the engineering study. Street maintenance of $1 million. Lot of different repairs, oil and chipping, those types of things. And then street lighting of 190,000, which is pretty common every year.
Is the state matching 114,000? Is that up there in the revenues? Where does it end up?
I don't think so.
I don't remember.
Some net, I think the total cost is 228.
Yeah, the 228 is right. So that's just our portion. So yeah. So we did not show the state's revenue coming in. Otherwise, we would have put 228,000 in there. But that, yeah, the budget revenues do not show the state's match. Hotel motel tax funds, revenues of 559,000, expenditures of 689,000. Again, spending deficit of 130,000. At the end of the year, we project to have 185,000 still in black. Salaries and benefits is about 210. Special projects, 150,000. And then tourism grants, we do about 230,000 and tourism grants. That's up this year because of Emerald Acres being able to help get some things going out there.
So not also Hilton Garden Inn.
Yes, and the Hilton Garden Inn. Festival Management Fund, 4th of July, Bagel Fest and fireworks, revenues about 250, expenditures about 258. We'll have a projected imbalance of 33,925. 4th of July costs about 36,400. Bagel Fest 163,550, and Lightworks 58,450. Mobile Equipment Fund, budgeted revenues of 945,000, expenditures of 790,000, giving us still 155,000 in the black. A year-end projection of $1 million, a little over $1 million. Our largest expenditures there, we're buying a squad car. We did buy 2 this year, but 1 next year. Revolving loan payment for the fire truck of 61,000, almost 62. Ford F-250 for the fire department. A bucket truck, 20,000 after a trade-in. 1 crack sealer, 82,000, and then emulsion storage tank, 40,000. Instead of using a trailer and going to get emulsion, if we have an emulsion tank, we would be able to store the chemical there and not have to send somebody to go get it. They would deliver it to us. Continued. Another truck with a crane be for the sewer department, help get pumps out of our lift stations. A trailer mounted generator. We have a generator trailer mount at the sewer plant that needs to be upgraded. It's very, very old and doesn't work all the time. So it's good to, when we lose power, to be able to pull it out to the lift station and turn on the power lift station and get things moving. A truck for the park department, 55,000. Mower for the lakes, 30,000. Snow plow for the public works department, 15,000. Revolving loan fund, it's kind of an in and an out. We've got some revenues of 88,000 coming in, expenditures of 88,000. We have about 448,930 in the bank there. Capital projects fund, revenues of about $1 million, a little over $1 million. This year we are budgeting $2.3 million in expenditures, deficit of 1.2. Ending balance, 778,000. Again, on the project, on capital projects, we are budgeting a lot of work that more than likely will not all get done. If everything goes great, it would, but the way it actually happens with how long it takes to bid and get parts and everything, it usually drags over 2 years. But Little Wabash Drainage Project, we have 465,000 slated for that. Sidewalk cost sharing, 300,000. Wooddale Way Extension, 430,000. City Sidewalk Project for the 300,000.
Was that a duplicate of?
No, those are two different ones. The cost sharing is the ones that we work with contractors and homeowners, split 50/50. And then the other sidewalk project is 300,000, trying to do a lot more sidewalks. We typically do somewhere between 100 and 150 a year. So we're trying to double up on that. Other expenditures, Riddle School sidewalk, even though that is completed, we'll be paying that out of this year's budget. Depot HVAC, we have a lot of units there, 13, I think, units in the depot. They're getting to be 20 years old, so we need to start replacing some of those. So we put 25,000 in. Tree planting, 25,000. Debt service for the Public Works Building, 453,000.
Do we still partner with Lumpkin Foundation on those trees?
Yes. And then also we got another tree grant that we have to plant how many trees in the next 3 years?
500.
500.
It's $500,000 shared between us and Paris.
Midtown TIF, about $1 million in revenues, a little over $1 million, a little under $1 million in expenditures. End of the year, should have around 782,000 in the bank. TIF grants of 524,000, shared increment with the taxing bodies, 202,000. Depot repairs and maintenance, we want to do some fascia work, some window work around the depot, 50,000. And then Burgess repair and maintenance, we have settling in the Burgess in the back, and we want to try to jack up and stabilize that back corner, and keep from more damage happening to the building. I-57 East TIF District, revenues of about 400,000, expenditures of 377,000. End of the year, about 473,000 still. Shared increment about 81,000, TIF grants of about 89,000, and then the Coles Center Detention Basin, about 200,000. So, any questions on that?
Can I go back a slide, would you please?
Yeah.
So that one, the Midtown TIF fund, as I understand it, expires in 2027.
Correct.
And I assume the intent is to renew that?
Yes, we've actually started that process. And so we've got, hopefully this year, if it wouldn't get passed through state budget, the state has to extend them.
Okay.
They have to approve extensions. So if we wouldn't get it approved this year, we'd be able to reapply next year.
Okay.
So that's why we started this year. The East, yeah, Broadway East, I think the East is in 2023 is when it'll expire.
2030.
Or, yeah, 30. I-57 East Business District. Surprised I don't have the date on that one. Should be the same. It would be the same. 2030. Revenue is about 56,000. Expenditures about 52,000. I have about 30,000 in the bank at the end of the year. Business district grant of 50,000. Broadway East TIF is 2031. Revenue is about 233,000. Expenditures about 108,000. Again, at the end of the year, projected about 739,000. We share increment with the taxing bodies of about 46,000. 30,000 in grants, and spending 30,000 in Peterson Park improvements. Broadway East Business District, it's got revenues coming in about 496,000, expenditures about 370,000. It has about 904,000 at the end of the year. I have the business district grant 32,000, and then debt service for the mall improvements of 336,000. I think that goes out to 29. If I remember right, 28 or 29. Yeah. So we're on downhill slide there. South Route 45 Business District, about $80,000, expenditures of about 76,000. Again, we've got an ending balance of about 24,000. Shared increment of about 16,000 with the taxing bodies, and then debt service on the quality and improvements, 57,900. And again, that's 2829 as well, the last payment. The business district, about 40,000 in revenues, only about 2,000 in expenditures, about 242,000 at the end of the year. Really, the 2,000 expenditures is just auditing fees. So,
I think we always ask why that district is never taken off. Is it just because property can't be bought out there?
some of it is property can't be bought. Some of it is just lack of interest in that interchange. We're hoping Lakeland's trying to maybe do some improvements out there that we can work with them, and that might spur some extra development as well. So we are definitely having those discussions on how we can get something.
And we're looking at other opportunities along the railways to expand maybe industrial growth in some areas east of the tracks
Yeah.
and south of GE, but also along the railroad. So
Remington Road, about 1.4 million in expenditures, or in revenues and in expenditures. It's balancing out. That's what we're for phase one of the sports complex. Business district grant of 1.4 million. So it's kind of an in and an out on those new developments. Water fund, budgeted revenues of about $4 million. Debt issuance of 2 million. That is if we can get an IEPA loan for the lime slaker. And then budget expenditures of about 7 million. Again, deficit spending, have about 856,000 at the end of the year. Again, we're trying to do maintenance on stuff that we have ignored for years or put off for years.
And this fund is,
That is the water fund.
yeah, is to pay, the rates are supposed to pay for all the costs of this fund
Correct.
along with the sewer.
Correct.
So one of the key ways is to either borrow money for the big expenditures or increase rates.
Correct.
That's the only way to really generating revenue.
Yep. Sell more water, get more
Sell more
people
water.
out there.
Take more showers, water more yards.
Largest expenditures in the water fund, 1.3 million in salaries overtime, about $500,000 in employee benefits. We're gonna do some replacing of filters of 100,000, clean and paint the carbon silo, 50,000, lime slaker, that 2 million that we were talking about borrowing. Rebuild the finish pumps of about 40,000, and then a US 45 water main construction, 590,000. That gives us a second feed up on North 45. Right now, around the roller skating rink up to almost 1,000 North is not connected there on 45. It's over on 6th Street. We want to connect that on 45. Continued, we'd like to put a water main down Old State Road, about 350,000 from 9th Street down to the country club area to loop that area as well, which would also help pressures out on the east end of town. Water tower painting, I think it's been close to 20 years since we painted a water tower, so need to work on that.
Is that one tower?
I was gonna
That
say
is one tower.
It's only one.
Yeah,
And which, have we picked one yet?
we haven't picked which one yet. We're gonna have them come in and look at them and tell us which one needs it the worst.
Yeah.
Chemicals, we got $500,000. Again, we don't know how much those are really going up. We've seen a 20% increase, but now with tariffs, those may go up even more. Natural gas and electric's about 226,000. Transfer to the mobile equipment fund of 34,000. We want to demo the old water building. We have 200,000 there. That's high. That will be coming down. It just did not change that in the budget yet, so we will do that. It's probably going to be closer to about 75,000.
So the number on the chemicals, does that reflect a 20% increase for the chemicals from 4 to?
Yes.
It does. Okay.
Utility tax transfer to the general funds of 125,000. Sue, you got a question?
There was talk about moving the standpipe.
Yes. So
Is that in there at all?
no, not yet. I mean, that's future. If we got that water loop on Old State Road done,
That's the domino that goes first.
that could make it to where we could maybe possibly move that water pipe, that standpipe, or we put boosters in that standpipe, one or the other. So
Gotcha. Thank you.
we would need that to know for sure.
We're dumping about 6 million gallons of treated water annually.
Right. Sewer fund, budgeted revenues of about 4.7 million. There's no debt issuance there, even though we did apply for 2 million also with that, with the digester lid, but we did not show the digester lid repair either in here. We weren't going to do that, but then they called and asked if we wanted to apply again for that. So we'll make that adjustment. Budget expenditures of 7.2 million, again, overspending, about 2.5 million at the end of the year. Even if we do spend all that, we're at 1.1 million in the sewer fund. Salaries, overtime, 1.2 million, benefits, $500,000. Combined sewer overflow right away of 125,000, trying to get from CN. CN storm sewer crossing at a different location, 125,000. 28th Street lift station. There's a possibility that we could eliminate that lift station and go over to a different one. That cost us about 310,000, but it would save us a lot in future maintenance. Miscellaneous sanitary construction of 100,000. Wastewater treatment plant improvements, 1.5 million. Again, I think we have primary pumps being installed this year and the clarifiers being rebuilt that we've already approved. So that's that. A debt service of about 600,000. Natural gas and electric expenditures of 335,000, and then transfer to mobile equipment of almost 300,000. Those are the big expenditures there. Health insurance fund, kind of an in and an out, but 5.9 million. Our healthcare premium is the largest portion of that. So that's 4.9 million. Medicare for the ones that are 65 and older, that plan about 691,000. Dental premiums 161,000, and then life insurance about 30,000. This slide we used to do because when we were self-insured, the parts in the gray is, the first, most of it is when we were self-insured. It would have our fixed cost, our total claims, and then a total cost at the bottom. In 2024, we went fully insured, and our total cost was 4.6 million versus 5 million the previous year. We're going to see that creep back up, but hopefully it only creeps up to about the 5 million mark. So you can kind of see from 2018, it was 4 million, 4.3, 5, 5.1, 4.8, 5.0. We're at 4.6. So trying to hold that steady as much as we can. Insurance of short judgment, again, that's kind of an in and an out. But the budget revenue is about 1.1 million, expenditures of 1.1 million. We have 443,000 in the bank in that fund. Workers' comp insurance is usually about 436,000. And property casualty insurance is about 539,000. That is the end of my presentation. Anybody have any questions or want to go back over anything? And I will make this available to you guys as well. So,
I mean, I think that's a great summary of a lot of work, from a lot of people trying to get this thing balanced. And we've already come up with a couple of ideas to make some modifications. And hopefully we'll continue to do that.
yes.
So the grocery tax is included in this?
So the grocery tax, yes, well, yes, we are going to replace that as the plans. Otherwise, we would be another 400,000 to 500,000 that we would have to come up with. But the intent there is that the grocery tax will be reinstated before it goes away in January of 26. All right. We can close the public hearing.
Good job, everybody.
You take a motion on that.
No, just need to
Okay,
say
close it.
close them.
Okay, so budget hearing is closed, and now we can go on to do business.
Yes.
Okay, after we pass the first couple of motions, we're going to have a little change in how we proceed even in these meetings. So let's go ahead and get that done. I'll make the first two motions. I move to adopt ordinance number 2025-5490, establishing the manager form of government and amending the municipal code of ordinances, chapter 31, city officials, section 3120, to codify the city manager position. Can I have a second to that motion?
I'll second, Mayor.
Mr. Cox, and any questions anybody has? I know we've had a lot of meetings on the documents you've got in front of you, and we've made several changes during that process. But does anybody have any other questions or any suggestions that we need to do? Hearing none, we'll take roll call.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Commissioner Graven. Abstain. Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Okay, to the next part of that, in order, now that we've got it in place, we have to have someone that manages it. And I will move to adopt special ordinance number 2025-1948, ratifying the employment agreement of Kyle Gill for the position of the interim city manager and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign the agreement. Can I have a second to that motion?
Second, Mayor.
Mr. Phipps? And we have a process going forward that we're finishing over the next several weeks to complete our search for a permanent city manager. But in order to move forward with this, with the timelines that we have, we need to have an interim manager actually take over and manage the city as if it were the permanent city manager. So that's what this motion is all about. I don't know, does anybody have any comments or questions? Okay, if none, we'll take roll call.
Commissioner Graven. Abstain. Commissioner Phipps.
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen.
Yes.
Commissioner Cox.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Okay, in the past now, we always assigned motions to individual council members as it related to those departments. But now we don't have departments that relate to our positions. So just like any other organization, typically my role would ask, like on the next one, who wants to make that motion? And it's really up to, you want to do the first one?
Sure.
Okay, so we'll let Commissioner Phipps do that.
I adopt, motion to adopt resolution number 2025-3298, approving an intergovernmental agreement between the state of Illinois, Illinois Department of Transportation, and the city of Mattoon for cost sharing of the phase one engineering study of the Illinois Route 16 and Swords intersection in the amount of $114,350.
Matt, you're-
Skipped one.
Number three.
Number 3.
Sorry.
Well, I read almost all of it.
I know.
Well,
Sorry.
All right.
we can let you do that one, sort of out of turn if you would like to.
Well,
And I have no problem.
does anybody want to do the MFT one?
Yeah, okay. So you just made the fourth item.
Yeah, I'll do the fourth.
Okay. And then we'll get you back to number three.
Okay.
All
And
right.
authorize the mayor or city clerk to sign the agreement.
Okay, so now we need a second to the resolution 3298. And who would like to second?
I'll second, Mayor.
Commissioner Cox does that. And any questions anybody has about this one? Hearing none, any comments? All right, roll call.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Griggs,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Now we go back to number 3.
Anybody want to do three? All right, a motion to adopt a resolution 2025-3297, approving the final MFT payment in the amount of $45,223.02. Improvements on Marshall Avenue project and authorizing the city clerk to sign the document 14-00266-03-PV.
And a second to that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Clausen, and any comments anybody has on this one?
Just, this was the Marshall Avenue project from years ago. It's taken them that long to finalize this last bill. So, no real comments other than this is the final bill of a project that was done several years ago.
Initially, we thought it was gonna be about $167,000.
Right.
So that's what I recorded on the votes. And that's the additional, grants revenue. Key.
Good deal. All right. Any other questions, comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Griggs,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes,
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
and I can do the next three.
Okay. Everybody all right with that? Go ahead.
Motion to approve council decision request 2025-2580, approving the engineering proposal in the amount of $228,700 from the Farnsworth Group to conduct a Phase 1 engineering study of the Illinois Route 16 and Swords Drive intersection, authorizing $114,350 in motor fuel tax funds to fund the city's portion of the work and authorizing the mayor to sign the proposal.
And a second on that.
I'll second.
Commissioner Graven, and comments on that particular item.
I would just say this is, we'll be paying 50% of this, full contract. You voted or approved the agreement with IDOT. So we'll be leading this project for IDOT. And, we'll be paying out the initial invoices or this and then get reimbursed by IDOT for that. So, looking forward to get this started because it's going to be an issue out there if we don't get something down at that intersection soon.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Griggs,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
A motion to adopt resolution 2025-3299, approving an intergovernmental agreement between the state of Illinois, the Illinois Department of Transportation, and the city of Mattoon for the cost of the Lincoln Prairie Trail Lighting Design Agreement in the amount of up to $14,000 and authorizing the mayor and city clerk to sign the agreement. And it's agreement number JN 725012. Okay.
Second to that one.
Second.
Commissioner Clausen, and any comments?
This is just basically the bike trail underneath the interchange when they're going to be rebuilding the bridges over 57, on 57 over 16. We asked them to look at solar lighting for that since we don't really have a lot of power right out there close to it. And the state's picking that up actually. So
Yeah, we'll lead the project with Farnsworth, get the plans and they'll insert those into the I-57 interchange plans and they're going to pay 100% of it.
And they were always going to have that
Light.
work done there, right, anyway.
All right, it was already going to be done, but it's going to be, wouldn't be solar lighting.
Okay.
And you have a power bill every month.
Okay,
So
all right. And roll call.
Commissioner Raven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
I motion to approve council decision request 2025-2581, approving the engineering proposal from the Farnsworth Group for the design of solar lighting in the tunnel for the Lincoln Prairie Trail under I-57 in the amount of $14,000 and authorizing the mayor to sign the proposal.
And a second on that one.
I'll second.
Ty? Okay, I'm going to go with Commissioner Clausen.
Yeah.
And, okay, the difference between the two?
This is actually approving Farnsworth doing this study, doing the design work. So
All right, any other comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
yes.
Commissioner Raven,
Yes,
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Who would like to take number 8?
I guess I can since it falls under there.
Okay,
Make a motion to approve council decision request 2025-2582, approving the water and sewer billing adjustment in the amount of $1,038.17 on behalf of Catherine Wright, located at 711 South 16th Street.
and a second to that motion.
Second, Mayor.
Commissioner Phipps? This is pretty common. I don't think anybody has any questions on that one. Roll call.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Raven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
Make a motion to approve council decision request 2025-2583, approving the water and sewer billing adjustment in the amount of $1,137.62 on behalf of Kristen Becker, located at 2721 Commercial.
And a second to that motion.
I'll second.
Commissioner Cox? And roll call.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Raven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Next one, anybody
Take
want
it.
to? Huh?
Yeah.
Me go ahead and take it?
Yeah, I want to feel welcome, so.
Okay. All right, I move to approve council decision request 2025-2584, approving the bid in the amount of $171,600 from Taylor Roofing for the roof restoration of the police department building through OMINIA Partners Public Sector Contracting Services. And second to that motion.
Second.
And any comments?
This Omnia Partners is a federally bid out letting. Taylor Roofing, it's a local contractor, not here in Mattoon, but in the area. And we also had Industrial Roofing, was another contractor that bid on that. Taylor Roofing was the cheaper bid. It's a 30-year roof on the PD. They also gave us some prices on City Hall, but we're choosing to elect to wait on those a little bit, but we'll do some maintenance repairs on City Hall this year as well.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call.
Commissioner Raven,
Yes.
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes.
A motion to approve council decision request 2025-2585, authorizing the employment of Tyler Borntrigger as maintenance worker 3 with an annual salary of $48,630.40, effective April 7th, 2025, pending passage of a drug screening and background check.
And a second to that motion.
Second.
Mr. Graven, any comments?
That was
I believe that's Mr. Clausen.
What did I say?
he second.
Okay. Any comments?
No, he's last one, I think, to get us up to 17 in the budget. So he comes to us well. He's got a lot of experience in the field tiling industry, so runs heavy equipment. So I think it'll be a good asset. Seems to be very eager, and I've got his background back already, and it's good. So yeah, welcome to have him. So.
All right. Roll call?
Commissioner Phipps,
Yes.
Commissioner Clausen,
Yes.
Commissioner Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Raven,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. I'll take this one. I move to approve council decision request 2025-2586, ratifying the reappointment of Mark Welton to the Police Pension Board with a term ending April the 30th of 2027. Can I have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Mr. Cox. And I did call Mark and he was very happy to take that role. And he's been on there for a while, so he's been a good addition. Anybody have any other questions or comments? Roll call.
Mr. Clausen.
Yes.
Mr. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Raven.
Yes.
Mr. Phipps.
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Okay, department reports. Starting with Kyle.
I'm gonna go back to the budget? No.
But that could be your report.
Yeah, no, that I don't have really anything new to report. Been getting the budget presentation done, the budget done, working with that. And then been working also this week on getting stuff ready for the IML lobby day, which the mayor and I are going to tomorrow. And so I've got a list of things to talk to our legislative people about. So we'll see what they can do to kind of help us in some of our projects.
Any questions? Next, city attorney, Dan Jones.
Been business as usual for me. Other work has been getting ready for this meeting, but nothing out of the ordinary. Happy to answer questions, but
All right. City clerk, Susan O'Brien.
It's just been open enrollment for our 457s and 125 insurances. Otherwise, business and usual.
Okay, any questions for Susan? Next is Public Works, Dave Clark.
No, you got finance.
Let's go with finance.
And
That's right.
the major sources of revenue spreadsheet, which has 11 months of everything but video gaming, and then there was so 12 months of video gaming, and year over year, we're down just under $36,000. The other reporting website open today. We're working to the end of the month. These projects and obligations that we made. Unrestricted cash in the general fund today is 11.6 million. 2 weeks ago, it was 12.1. 4 weeks ago, it was about 11.3. So, as we spend down that ARPA money, you can see that number go down slightly. We're working on the budget amendment for fiscal 25 and water and sewer rates for the next meeting.
Any questions anybody have? Okay, now we'll go with Public Works.
Okay. You should be seeing an awful lot of maintenance work going on the streets, a lot of cost share sidewalk projects underway out there. So trying to make some headway with that. We did have some power outages over the weekend. It did not affect anything at the water plant or anything associated with that. We did have a couple of our lift stations that it suffered for a little while, but got those going pretty quickly. A lot of IEPA reporting going on right now for the lead water lines and other monthly and quarterly reports that we have to do. Other than that, I think that's about it.
Another busy season ahead.
Yes.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, we go to fire. Bill goes.
Thank you, Mayor. Since the last meeting, the guys have answered 166 calls for service. Inspectors did 8 inspections and follow-ups. We had the Illinois Fire Service Institute come in here and conduct a free cornerstone class on fire alarm systems and how to manage those. What it means when fire alarms go off. It was a pretty decent class. I think the guys picked up on some. They did their technical rescue rope haul systems training. They did their annual ACLS, which is advanced cardiac life support. And then last Monday, unfortunately, one of our vehicles was involved in an accident. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. It was at the corner of DeWitt Avenue East and Lerner Road. Just one guy in our pickup truck that was set to be replaced. If I knew it was gonna be in a wreck, I would have sent him that rusted out engine. But everybody's okay, so that's the good thing. And other than that, it's been pretty much business issue.
Any questions for Jeff? Okay. Police Chief Gaines?
The guys are doing good. It's getting busy. I think there was a time today I didn't hear the radio going. Seeing that calls up thousands again, for too long here, I would imagine. But since last time we met, we're at 971 calls for service and 49 arrests. And the good part about those 49 arrests is that they're all city arrests, so they'll be in city court.
That's good. Why?
Security van.
Caught us all.
That was April Fool, right? Okay.
I'm serious.
Any questions for Sam? Arts and Tourism, Angelia?
You, working with Peyton tomorrow to get, we got permission for the second alley mural. Going to be once again interiors, kind of behind the chamber, backside of the chamber. It's going to be an 80s themed, go along with murals. We're talking about different times in Mattoon history. So this one's going to be more around the movie theater that doesn't exist anymore. So I think it's going to be good. We have Garden Fest on May 10th in Lido Park, working with Jacob Fryman, who is the big person at Lido Park, to get that rolling. He sent out registration forms today. And we have a Bagel Fest announcement for entertainment on April the 8th. April the 12th, we have our first artisan fair in Heritage Park. And we're working on new prints of materials, maps, and Victor Guide and back parts.
Good. Any questions for Angelia? Community Development, Alex?
Yeah, so Darcy and I today submitted a congressionally directed spending request for the write-in, write-out at Walmart through Senator Durbin's office. So we're really excited to kind of see how that shakes out. There's a good chance we may not get funded on that just due to the size of the request, but I think it's really good for us to get in the habit of making these. We wouldn't have known about that if it wasn't for Darcy, so that's really exciting. Then the now interim city manager and I are working on the corridor development revision. Basically, the city of Charleston called us about the corridor development district zoning and wanted to see if there was a way to transition things from having to go from the joint review committee to just being approved by staff as long as it meets the ordinance. So we're going through that, adding a couple of housing pieces to make housing possible in that space. Outside of there, working with a group on a childcare facility, planning discussion. We've met with the school district and various other stakeholders to see what a fully fledged, large scale childcare facility might look like in Mattoon. In addition to figuring out ways how to incentivize kind of the mom and pop folks to get certified through the state's certification process. So really good conversations there. A lot of awesome community partnerships are being formed. Outside of that, I got an update for you, Dan, that it's not an April Fool's. So the Brown Shoe owner has officially signed a contract with a demolition contractor. So that's exciting news. We will see how that shakes out. So, and then last thing, we've also submitted a variance for Fire Station 3. That's in progress, and public hearing on that will be on April 22nd.
Anybody have any questions for Alex?
Just real quick, what was the program that you filed with Durbin's office?
It is congressionally directed spending. So any person who is elected at the federal level, it could be your local representative or your senator, they are able to provide funding. Typically, that hasn't really been on the table for this area, but we have been able to apply through our sector.
Cool. Thank you. Good deal. Okay. Comments by the council. Commissioner Graven?
I have nothing, Mayor.
Okay. Dave Commissioner Cox,
Nothing this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Phipps.
God, it's just been business as usual, Mayor. I hear that a lot. Bugging Kyle about every day. And I forgot to write down, Angelia, what was the name of the Bagel Fest group? We won't tell anybody. No.
At 7 for
Okay,
UCI.
gotcha. Other than that, that's all.
You should come up with a name and just April Fool.
I really should
He
have,
would have fell.
because I was expecting.
REO Speedwagon, you could say, or something like that. It's April Fools or,
Somebody really liked that so fast.
yeah, that's true.
Okay, Commissioner Lawson.
Thank you, Mayor. Parks are getting our ball fields ready. Talked to TJ today. We've got 14 weekends of tournaments scheduled. 3 of those weekends will be both softball and baseball. But 10 baseball tournaments will be on our fields in the next 6 months, and 7 softball. And then the Parks employees today were replacing the roof on the band shell out at Peterson as well. And then Carolyn Cloyd could not be here tonight, but we are all invited this coming Saturday, and I've got a invitation for you. The Coles County Veterans Support Coalition at the depot, they are having a speaker. The program is called At Ease, and it's how our veterans kind of transform into civilian life. So they've got a speaker lined up. So we are all in, love to have all the council there and others. And that starts at 10 a.m. Train Depot this coming Saturday. So start those around. That's all I got, Mayor.
Okay, very good. Let's see. First of all, I'll start by congratulating our interim city manager
Thank you.
and moving ahead on that project. I'll just tell you just a real quick story. I was in Naperville this last weekend, went to a place called Rosie's, the cafeteria up there, breakfast. We went in there and a guy came up, and it was owned and operated by veterans. And he greeted my family at the door. He said, I'm a small town guy from central Illinois. You probably don't know where I'm from. He said, I lived my entire life in a little town called Sullivan. He says, it's close to Mattoon. And I said, I know that town pretty well. And anyway, he went on to say that he's franchising his operation. He wants to, it's Rosie's Riveters, you know, the lady that was in World War II, did so much to help succeed in that battle. But anyway, he is from Sullivan. He wants to come and visit us and talk about a franchise. The first actually official franchise, other than the one that they've got in Naperville right now. But he wants to have, and they've set up one not-for-profit organization made up of veterans, but also helping a veteran come in here, set up a business. It's a breakfast business primarily. They do serve lunch, but to see if they could get one here for our veterans that could, work in something like that here. So hopefully that might come up. You just never know how those things might develop. But I thought that was kind of interesting. So anybody have any questions for me? All right. So one thing else to do, but we need a motion.
I'm good.
You good?
Just stay here all night.
Can't get no sick, just let us go home.
One last time.
Well, if we're just going to debate it, I guess I'll move forward.
Make a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Second on that.
Second that.
All right. Good deal. And roll call.
Mr. Cox,
Yes.
Commissioner Graven. No. Mr. Phipps,
Yes.
Mr. Clausen,
Yes.
Mayor Hall.
Yes. Meeting adjourned.
That will conclude the meeting.
First meeting, Mayor.
Sort of.